think it's very clear that we're all committed to stopping the small boats, and you've made it one of your 5 priorities. I just wondered, to this end, we've got £140 million already spent with Rwanda on the deal there, £500 million that you've agreed to send to the French to build a detention centre which will be operational in a few years' time. We don't know what the figures are around using RAF Scampton and ferries, and there's no impact assessment about the current illegal migration bill that's going through Parliament, although the Refugee Council seem to be claiming that it'll cost £9 billion over 3 years. So I just wondered, is there actually a blank cheque from the Treasury for you to achieve stopping the boats?
Of course not. But what I can tell you, and the number you didn't mention, is that we're spending £3.5 billion a year currently on an asylum system. We spend £6.5 million a day, roughly, housing asylum seekers in hotels. And you know, we need to make sure that we bring that down over time. And again, as a matter of fairness and stopping people tragically losing their lives, we do need to stop the boats.
Yes, I think we're all
and
agreed.
There's no one, as I've always said, there's no one silver bullet that will solve this problem. No. There's lots of different things that we need to do. Some of them are returns agreements, and others are new pieces of legislation. There's more cooperation with the French. And we're working on all of them.
Can I just ask you then, it's right, isn't it, that the Permanent Secretary in the Home Office still hasn't signed off the Rwanda deal as value for money because of the lack of evidence of a deterrent effect? That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's a novel policy, and that's why the bill.
Yes, so the answer is yes. Sorry,
well, I think actually the Refugee Council I think it does have they think it would have a deterrent effect, interestingly.
Okay.
But look, I think as you said, Don, I think we're very committed to stopping the votes.
We all are.
Well, I'd say we all are. I think you need to say how they're going to do it. This is what I think the right way to do it is. Other people may have alternatives, but having spent a lot of time on it and having seen lots of other ways that people have come at the problem, I think this is the only way to do it.
Can I just ask you then, given that the illegal migration bill provisions are now going to be backdated to the 7th of March, and it's being promised that we're going to see Rwanda departures, flights to Rwanda departing by the summer, small boats already should be, there should be a deterrent there already in action. But actually this year we've had 3,770 people arrive in small boats since January 1st. So why do you think there's not been any evidence of a deterrent effect so far?
Just to pick up on what you said, no one has promised flights by the summer. What we've said is we will get. No, that's not what she said. What we've said is we will start flights as soon as we can after legal proceedings have completed. And as you know, that there's been one High Court judgment already. That's being appealed. The government continues to defend its case, but ultimately we need to let the legal process play out, and it's only after that the legal process has been completed. Now, people may speculate on when that is likely to happen or not, but it's only when that process has been completed that we can practically start the flights, and I believe it's at that moment that you will be able to see, you will start to see, one would assume, from time onwards. But it was right that we backdated the legislation, because otherwise, again, you create an incentive for people to come very quickly and search, which obviously that wouldn't be sensible either. So it's the appropriate and sensible thing to do to backdate the legislation from the day of introduction. Okay,
what happens if your priority to stop the boats? What happens if they don't stop coming? What's plan B?
Well, I said we're focused on delivering the policy. So, as I said, there's lots of different aspects to it, whether it's cooperation with the French, whether it's returns agreements, whether it's more enforcement, whether it's the legislation, whether it's the backlog. We're working hard on all of them.
Right, so no plan B. So in December, when you came before the committee, I think you just announced then your plans to abolish the backlog in asylum claims, and at that time the total backlog stood at 120,000. It's now at 166,000. So I just wondered how you were getting on.
So I think I was very specific with you at the time, as I was in Parliament, that what we were talking about was the initial asylum backlog, which at the time stood at, I think, about 92,000 from memory. The latest published figures on that have it, I believe, 88, but they are a month or two out of date from memory, so it's lower than that now, but we are making progress on reducing the initial asylum backlog.
So I think you've kind of acknowledged, and I think again we'd agree, that to stop the boats we need to cut the backlog, restore return agreements with the EU, safe and legal routes, tackling the trafficking gangs. Could you just also at this stage just rule out leaving the EHCR as irrelevant to actually dealing with the small boats problem?
So we believe that our bill is compliant with the ECHR. That's the government's view. Obviously, there's a Section 19(1)(b) statement, given the novel nature of it. But
so
my belief is that the bill is compliant with the ECHR.
Okay, and just finally, could you just explain to me why the term institutionally racist, sexist and homophobic is deemed to be politically charged by the Home Secretary, but the use of the term invasion is not? Is that not politically charged?
Well, I mean, I think I addressed that previously anyway in PMQs the other day, but I think that the findings of the Casey report are shocking, it's appalling, and it's right that action is taken by all those who have responsibility, whether that's the Met Commissioner or indeed the Mayor of London, who is, of course, the person with primary accountability politically for the Met to make improvements.
Not legal, it's not politically charged using the word invasion.
As I said, with regard to the Casey report, it's important that changes are made.
No, I'm asking you about invasion, use of the word invasion to describe the small boats problem.
I think, look, it's very clear that the scale of the problem is significant and growing. I mean, when you've had a quadrupling or quintupling of the number of illegal arrivals in the space of just 2 years, it's important to actually recognise the pace of what's happening, and that's a very large number, and it's growing very quickly.
But my specific question is it politically charged to use the word invasion in relation to the small boats problem?
What I would say is the situation is one that is significant and it's growing, and it's important that we take action to stop it.
Okay, well, it seems to me that it is politically charged to use the word invasion. I mean, we know that use of that type of word inflames people and gets the far right particularly inflamed.
Well, I think actually what matters are actions, and I think what people want to see is that we're taking action to grip this problem.
Doesn't it, Prime Minister?
So, and I think that's what we're doing, whether it's with the legislation, it's that cooperation with the French, all the other things we're doing. I think what that demonstrates is action to grip a problem which is significant and growing.
Okay, I think language matters, Prime Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.